Welcome back. I want to talk a little bit right now about things that we believe are making us sick, but they're really not. I want to give you a perfect example. It's really quite simple. It's mind over body, and many people believe this. Some people don't. You may or may not believe this, but you will if you don't. I will prove to you that you can feel now probably that your energy is building up, and you might be able to feel stronger, strength coming from inside, and this should become part of our daily lives. This is gonna bring us a lot more energy and happiness and healing power and things such as this. So, but another thing we need to be aware of is when you're in feeling unlucky or bad times, you're sick, things like this, you can actually find a lot of reasons to be sick, and they might not all be true. In fact, maybe none of them are true. I'm just gonna make one example. Again, there could be hundreds of things that you might do that are like this. Say I'm in the frame of mind where I'm negative and I'm expecting things to make me sick and unhappy. And I walk in the room, I see a little bit of dust on my CD burner here, and I immediately start sneezing and my nose is running, my eyes are red, and I'm calling the hospital because I'm dying from inhaling this dust. Well, a lot of people are sensitive to dust, breathing in dust. But, however, are you or are you not? Are you just in that frame of mind that everything is bothering you? I don't really think it's killing me. I'm now putting my hand on the dust and it's on my finger. I'm not going to intentionally inhale it, but it's not actually bothering me. And there could be hundreds of examples like this. I can give you a personal example of mine where in my family there has been some history of blood sugar problems. Well, I never had a blood sugar problem myself until I started convincing myself that since other people in my family had those problems, I must too. Isn't that natural? Isn't that fact? Isn't that the way the world works? Your parents and your cousins and uncles and aunts and grandparents, that you must, you're blood related, so you must have those problems, right? Well, I don't think that's true. I never really had blood sugar problems or anything of that nature until I started wondering if I did and convincing myself that I did. And eventually I felt like I did, and then I really believed that I did. But it was never, in fact, true. I had convinced myself to have this sickness, and after a long time of thinking that way, I actually did start to have that sickness, and I thought I did. But it was never really true. I had just thought about it. So think about right now, what type of sickness do you think you have? And even if, and you may have a sickness that you can obviously do have, but think about this right now and let it be gone. Think about it in this way. Don't think about your illness or your sadness or your sickness in a way that it's fact, because it is not fact. It might be partially in your mind. Now, like I said, there are obviously illnesses that are totally real. I gave the example in one of the previous recordings of if your arm is broken in several places and hanging off your body, you cannot probably, concentrating on that is probably not going to help a great deal. You would really need to see a doctor if your arm is broken or if you have a disease of this nature. But I hope you understand really what I'm getting at here when I'm saying that what are the things in your life you think are making you sick? Are they really hurting you, or are you just convinced because of this addictive negative frame of mind where you think everything hurts you? So they do. So let's refresh ourselves from that old way of thinking where everything basically bothered us and everybody we met was annoying or bothering us somehow, and every speck of dust was making us on our deathbed and such things like this, because it's gonna propose the idea that it's not really true and that we need to think again about. Remember how we talked about our when we were thinking about our spiritual energy, and that we were reaching out as if you could see it, at arm's length and you were going to try to grab it. So remember that it's white and pure, and that it is filling us with health and healing. And so, being on this path now, let's try to think about some things that bother us on a daily basis. Now, when you start to do this, you're probably going to find out that you sound really silly when you talk about it. Like, it might be you're annoyed by your brother or something that you talk to, or your friend's annoying, your boss is annoying. Like I said, you have one speck of dust and you're sneezing. You know, and I'm not saying that that's not true, but you could be convincing yourself it's true. So let's try to have an attitude about that these things aren't really as bothering us. They're not really making us sick. And we need to try to convert our whole life away from that things are bothersome and a nuisance to, if we have a problem, it's kind of a challenge. You're going to defeat it, and you're going to feel better and on top of the world when you defeat this problem. Now, you could probably think about right now, what is the biggest problem in your life? And now think about this. Now, if you can bring yourself to defeat this problem, because I know we talked about before that most of the people listening to this are probably have felt hopeless or sad or sick. Now, think about the biggest problem in your life. I want you to do that right now. If you had to isolate just one problem which has made you sad or sick or depressed, and it's probably the reason why you're listening to this, just think about that one problem just for a moment. Now that you've got that in mind, think about if you were able to overcome this obstacle. How great would you feel? Would you not feel like you were on top of the world and the king of the earth almost? If you could overcome this problem that has been so huge for us, it's been so difficult and so painful and depressing and sad. Now, think about if we could defeat this problem and have it under our feet and stomp it into the ground. How on top of the world would you feel if you could do that? Would that not make you feel better about your life? Wouldn't you feel completely better about yourself and the world if you could defeat that one huge problem that we just identified? Doesn't that give you an amazing feeling to have that gone and crushed and in the past? That would really lift us up. Isn't that a great feeling? Now, why can't that be real? You just felt that. When I was talking, you just imagined what it would be like to totally be over that problem and to overcome it, and how huge of a person and how great you would feel if you did that and could do that. You just felt what it would feel like when I was talking. You imagined it. You imagined how great that would feel. That is real. You can do that. Imagine now actually doing that in your life. You just felt like what it would feel like to do this and to overcome this problem. You imagined how it would feel. So now you know that you can do it, because you can go out and do it in your life. And if you can imagine how good that feels now, think about when you actually go out and do it. When you actually go out and solve this problem and destruct it and put it under your feet and stand on it and stomp on it and say, you defeated it. You'll say, I defeated this. How wonderful will you feel? You know that you can do it, because when I was talking a minute ago, you imagined how it would feel if you did do it. You imagined how great you would feel if you overcame this huge number one problem in your life. You imagined how it would feel to stomp it out and be the winner. So now that you know how that feels, that's a real feeling, and you can go out and do it. So now we are going to go out and actually stomp out this number one problem, because it can be done. I'm telling you the truth. This can be done, and we are going to do it. Now we are going to go out there and actually stomp out this problem, because now you know that you can do it. You know that the feeling of conquering it is real. So let's go do it. I'm almost at 10 minutes. Keep that in mind, because we are going to stomp this out.